Even though Zig Ziglar left us in 2012, his wisdom continues to shine like a guiding light for every new generation. If he were here to see 2026, he wouldn't focus on fear, politics, or uncertainty. He would focus on possibility. He believed that no matter how much the world changes, their principles never expire. Zig would say that the future doesn't belong to those who predict it, but to those who prepare with faith, work, and purpose. Here are his 5 great predictions for 2026, explained in full detail, the way Zig himself might have shared them from the stage. 1. Character will outshine technology. Technology has exploded in 2026. Artificial intelligence is everywhere. Writing, driving, diagnosing, even teaching. Yet Zig Ziglar would remind us, you can buy brains, but you can't buy heart. In an age where machines can replicate logic, their character becomes the greatest competitive advantage. Your integrity, honesty, and consistency can't be automated. Zig would warn that too many people are trying to get ahead fast. Forgetting that, shortcuts cut your future short. There, he'd tell a story about a salesman who lost a customer because of a small lie, and another who built a lifelong business through simple trust. Zig would predict that in 2026, people will crave authenticity more than automation. The brands that thrive will be those that treat customers like human beings, not data points. He'd say, reputation is built one decision at a time. There, you may impress people with your skills, but you influence them with your character. So in 2026, while the world is dazzled by gadgets, there, Zig's advice would be clear B, person that technology can never replace, kind, dependable, and full of heart. 2, motivation will move to meaning. In past decades, success was often measured by money, cars, or status. But Zig predicted that one day people would realize that achievement without purpose feels empty. 2026 is that time. People are re-evaluating what truly matters. Many are leaving high-paying jobs to pursue work that aligns with their values. There, Zig would celebrate this shift because he always taught that the most successful people are those who have a strong why. He'd say, when you find your why, you'll find your way. Motivation used to be about getting fired up, but Zig's deeper teaching was that motivation should come from meaning, from knowing that what you do matters. There, in 2026, he'd predict that those who focus on service over status will rise higher than ever before. He'd tell us that if your goal is only to make money, you might burn out. But if your goal is to make a difference, you'll never run out of energy. Purpose fuels persistence. So Zig's 2026 message would be, there, don't just chase success, chase significance. Do work that blesses others. The more you give, the more life gives back to you. 3, their faith and family will be the true wealth. As the world speeds up, stress increases, and screens take over homes. Zig Ziglar's wisdom feels prophetic. Many people spend their health trying to gain wealth, and then spend their wealth trying to regain health. In 2026, their Zig would predict that families who stay close, pray together, and eat together will win together. Faith was always central to Zig's message. He never separated success from spiritual grounding. He'd remind us that you can have all the money in the world, but if your family doesn't know your heart, you're poor in the places that matter most. In 2026, there, people are rediscovering that joy doesn't come from bigger houses or faster Wi-Fi. It comes from belonging, love, and gratitude. There, Zig would encourage every parent, every leader, every dreamer to protect their home time like treasure. He'd predict that more people will leave corporate ladders to build lives that are balanced and faith-filled. He'd say, don't make a living and forget to make a life. True wealth isn't what you keep in the bank. It's what you keep in your heart for. There, the best investment will be in yourself. Zig often said, you were born to win, but to be a winner, you must plan to win, prepare to win, and expect to win. In 2026, education and technology are changing fast, but Zig would predict that the greatest return will come from self-education, developing your mindset, discipline, and resilience. There, he'd remind us that success is never an accident. It's built by people who read, listen, and learn every single day. He'd point out that millionaires spend more on personal growth than on entertainment because they understand the secret: when you grow, Everything grows with you. Zig would predict that by 2026, those who stop learning will be replaced by those who never stop. The real AI of success, he'd joke, stands for attitude and integrity. He'd challenge us, read at least one good book a month. Listen to something that inspires you daily. There, surround yourself with people who lift you higher, because your future doesn't improve by chance. It improves by choice. So while others invest in crypto or stocks, Zig's 2026 prediction is clear: invest in your mind, your morals, and your motivation. Those never lose value. There, hope will be humanity's superpower. Finally, Zig would predict that in 2026, despite wars, inflation, and digital overload, the people who hold on to hope will lead the world forward. Zig's voice was always one of optimism. He believed that tough times never last, but tough people do. He'd remind us that every challenge carries a hidden opportunity. While some complain about the world falling apart, the hopeful are busy building something better. There, Zig's faith taught him that you cannot have a positive life with a negative mind. In 2026, anxiety and confusion are common. But Zig would say, out there, you don't have to be the light of the world, just a light in your world. Hope is contagious. When you smile, serve, and believe in better days, you inspire others to do the same. Zig's 2026 world isn't one of doom, it's one of potential. They're waiting for ordinary people with extraordinary faith to take action. He'd close with one of his timeless reminders: expect the best, prepare for the worst. There, capitalize on what comes, because even when the future is uncertain, your spirit doesn't have to be. There's Zig Ziglar's final message for 2026. Zig Ziglar's 2026 predictions aren't about the economy or technology. They're about the human heart. He'd remind us that character still counts. Purpose still drives. Faith and family still anchor us. Growth still transforms. Hope still wins. He'd smile and say, success is not a destination, it's a journey. And the journey gets better every time you choose gratitude, growth, and God. So in 2026, no matter what's happening in the world, Zig's prediction for you is simple: you can win if you don't quit. You can rise if you keep believing, and you can shine if you keep your heart full of faith and your eyes on the goal. Because the best part of 2026 isn't what happens to you, it's what happens in you. The world of 2026 is faster, louder out there, and more connected than ever before. Artificial intelligence writes books, robots deliver food, and people scroll endlessly looking for meaning out there. Yet, if Zig Ziglar were here today, he'd walk up to the microphone, flash that famous smile, and say, folks, technology may change, but truth never does. Zig believed that while tools and trends come and go, principles of success, faith, and character are eternal. He wouldn't predict stock markets or political shifts. He'd predict the rise of people who choose honesty over hype, gratitude over greed, and faith over fear. Let's unpack Zig Ziglar's 5 powerful predictions for 2026 with the deep lessons he would want you to carry into this new era of life, business, and personal growth. 1, character will outshine technology. Zig often said, ability can take you to the top, but it takes character to keep you there. In 2026, the world runs on data, algorithms, and automation. Machines can think faster, but they can't feel deeper. That's where Zig's timeless truth comes in. Character still matters most, think about it. Companies now compete not just on product quality, but on trust. Consumers read reviews out there, check transparency reports, and expect brands to stand for something real. A business might have the best technology, but without credibility, it collapses. Zig would say, technology can make you efficient, but only integrity can make you exceptional. He'd tell the story of a salesman who promised something he couldn't deliver and lost a client forever. Then he'd tell another story of a man who told the truth, even when it cost him a sale, and gained a lifelong customer. Zig's point, your reputation is your most valuable currency in 2026. I can generate content, but it can't generate trust. He'd predict that those who build lives on honesty, consistency, and compassion will rise above the noise. In a world full of fake filters and viral trends, authenticity will become a superpower. So Zig's first prediction for 2026 is simple but profound. Be the person that technology cannot replace, a person of integrity, humility, and heart. to motivation will move to meaning. In the past, their success was often measured by more money, more followers, more stuff. But Zig Ziglar foresaw a shift coming. People no longer want more. They want meaning. He'd step onto the stage in 2026 and say, you can have everything in life you want there if you would just help enough other people get what they want. That's not just motivation, that's purpose. That out there. Zig knew that motivation fades if it's built only on external rewards. What keeps people going through tough times is a sense of calling, not just a paycheck. He'd remind us of the difference between success and significance. Success is what you gain. Significance is what you give. In 2026, people are searching for meaningful work, something that aligns with their values, their passions, and their faith. There, Zig would celebrate this shift and predict that the happiest, most fulfilled individuals will be those who see their work as a form of service. He might tell a story like this. A man once asked his bricklayers what they were doing. One said, "I'm laying bricks." Another said, "I'm building a wall." The third said, "I'm building a cathedral that will stand for generations." All three did the same work, but only one worked with vision. Zig's message for 2026. Don't just build walls, build cathedrals. Find your why, and your work will never feel like work again. Meaning creates energy that never runs dry. So in a distracted, restless world, the winners will be those who live on purpose, not autopilot. 3, their faith and family will be the true wealth. Zig Ziglar often warned that the greatest danger in life isn't failure, it's success without fulfillment. He'd say, many people spend their health to gain wealth and then spend their wealth trying to regain their health. By 2026, this lesson has become crystal clear. People are realizing that true wealth has little to do with money and everything to do with relationships, peace of mind, and faith. Zig would predict that families who eat together, pray together, and talk face to face, not just phone to screen, will become the strongest foundation in a crumbling world. Out there, he'd remind us that your title means nothing if your children don't know you, and your career isn't worth much if it costs you your conscience. In a time when stress, burnout, and disconnection are everywhere, Zig's gentle wisdom feels like medicine. Don't make a living and forget to make a life. He'd tell fathers and mothers, your kids don't need a perfect parent, they need a present one. He'd tell leaders, your employees don't need a boss, they need someone who believes in them. In 2026, Zig would predict a powerful cultural return to faith, family, and simplicity, not as old-fashioned values, but as timeless ones. He'd say, if God is your partner, make your plans big, because faith gives life meaning and family gives life love. Together, they give life strength. The 4, the best investment will be in yourself. Zig Ziglar loved to remind people that your attitude, not your aptitude, will determine your altitude. In 2026, that's truer than ever. The job market is evolving fast. AI tools, automation, remote work. Yet Zig's prediction is simple. The people who keep learning will never be left behind. He'd teach that the most valuable education doesn't come from universities. It comes from daily self-development. There, he'd challenge you, read one chapter of a good book every day. Listen to something uplifting instead of gossip. Write down your goals and review them every morning. Zig would call that your personal growth plan, because success is predictable. If you grow yourself, your opportunities grow with you. He'd probably tell this classic story. If you put a $5 plant in a $10 pot, the plant won't grow bigger until the roots grow. You don't get bigger results until you grow inside. In 2026, most people focus on upgrading their phones, cars, or houses. Zig would smile and say, the best upgrade you can make is the one inside your mind. He'd predict that those who develop strong soft skills, communication, discipline, empathy, adaptability, will rise above those who depend only on technology. So his 2026 advice would be clear: don't wait for opportunity. Prepare for it. Invest in your mindset, because the return is infinite. 5, hope will be humanity's superpower. The world in 2026 can feel uncertain. Wars, inflation, division, and fear. But Zig Ziglar would step to the edge of the stage, raise his voice, and say, tough times never last. but tough people do. He believed in the unstoppable power of hope, not blind optimism, but faith-driven expectation. There, Zig would remind us that your attitude determines your future. You can't always control circumstances, but you can always control your response. He'd predict that the people who win in 2026 will be those who choose hope over worry and action over complaint. He'd tell stories of people who rose from nothing, from broken homes, from rejection, from bankruptcy, and built lives of impact simply because they refused to quit. Zig would say, failure is an event, not a person. And he'd add, you were designed for accomplishment, engineered for success, and endowed with the seeds of greatness. He'd remind us that no matter how dark the world seems, there's always light, and often you are that light. In 2026, when AI threatens jobs and uncertainty clouds the future, Zig's prediction is timeless hope will separate the winners from the warriors. He'd leave us with one of his classic lines, expect the best, prepare for the worst. Capitalize on what comes, because hope isn't passive, it's powerful. It's the force that keeps people moving forward when everything else says stop. Zig Ziglar's final 2026 forecast. The return to values. If Zig Ziglar could summarize all his 2026 predictions in one message, it would be this: success is not measured by what you have, but by what you become. He would predict that 2026 marks a turning point, a year when humanity realizes that all the gadgets, apps out there, and tools in the world can't fill the emptiness that only purpose, faith, and connection can satisfy. He'd foresee a return to values, where people rediscover gratitude, kindness, and humility as the new currencies of greatness. There, he'd urge every listener to take responsibility for their attitude, because in Zig's words, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. He'd close with his warm southern smile and say, folks, the good life doesn't just happen. There, you build it, one choice, one act of kindness, one prayer, one goal at a time. Then he'd add, with that famous sparkle in his voice, see you at the top.